all started back in autumn of 1994, when I was taking courses at the New York Botanical Garden and had the pleasure of meeting Anne-Marie Evans, who was teaching her first master class there. Anne-Marie was asking everyone, why isn't there an ASBA? The model she had in mind was the British Society of Botanical Artists, a relatively small, select society of well-established artists. Well, personally, I wasn't interested in founding that kind of society, but I was intrigued by the challenge of creating something better suited to the American environment, by which I mean open to all and capable of having a real social impact. The idea was to pursue the twin goals of broadening educational opportunities and encouraging excellence in this art form.
I'm a collector of botanical art. I'm based in London, and I was involved with the startup of the ASBA.
In 1993, I read Diane Boucher's open letter about creating the ASBA. I wrote her a letter saying I'd like to be counted in, and became part of a small group in the San Francisco Bay Area trying to help organize things on this side of the country.
And by 1994, Diane Boucher asked me to talk to her about the founding of the ASBA. And we have this great treasure in Pittsburgh, the Hunt Institute. The Hunt Institute was a terrific supporter of the ASBA. They helped us with the website, and they were such a credible international powerhouse of reputation that I think it was really wonderful for the ASBA.
I joined the ASBA in 1995, and I was delighted to meet fellow botanical artists.
The first conference I attended for ASBA was in Pittsburgh, and that was in 1995. It was the very first conference that ASBA held. It was held at the Hunt Institute, and I think that there were probably about 50 people there. It was much smaller than the conferences we have today, but there were many international members that came, so we were an international organization even then.
25 years ago, I was one of the very fortunate people who received a letter from the Hunt Institute of Botanical Documentation to discuss the idea of a botanical arts society in the United States. We passed the hat at that meeting. People dropped in checks and cash so we could support its formation. And I felt I had found my people.
I first got involved when Diane Boucher came around and started recruiting people for ASBA. I was there.
In 1995, when Diane Boucher started the ASBA, I was thrilled. Suddenly, we had a tribe. And this is the first newsletter I received 25 years ago. I just reread it, and it's still full of good information.
My first conference was in 1996 in San Francisco, which I co-chaired with former President Michelle Meyer.
My first one was in San Francisco, and because I lived in the area, I was part of the local committee hosting and organizing the event. The San Francisco conference lasted barely one day. Now, 3 days are filled with classes and workshops and opportunities to network and visit with other artists. Quite a change.
I was the on-site person for the Seattle conference in 2006. It was hard work, but the friends I made are still my friends.
Over 20 years ago, I decided to take a class in botanical drawing at Phipps Conservatory in Pittsburgh, taught by Ann Payne. That class started a love affair with botanical art that continues to today. It was at that class that I first learned about an organization dedicated to the promotion of botanical art, the ASBA.
My first role in ASBA was at the Boston conference in 2011, and I volunteered to help with registration. I had a great experience. I met so many people, and I would really recommend to anybody who's new to volunteer to do something at a conference. And even if you can't attend a conference, volunteer to help with something, maybe to help on a committee, because all of this work is done long distance. You could help with the committee, you could help with the journal. I volunteered to write articles for the journal. Whatever you feel you could do with your expertise, I think it's important to volunteer to help, and then you feel even more part of the organization.
I decided I have to find my people where I live. I looked in the members directory. I found that there were 6 people who were members of ASBA who also lived in the Portland area. I just contacted these people by email and said, would you like to start a group? None of us knew each other, and we showed up at a restaurant and we brought our portfolios and we had a really nice time talking, and it's just been getting better ever since.
Over the years, I've been honored to serve ASBA in a number of ways. All of these things have been extremely rewarding for me, and I'd encourage anyone who has an interest, even though they think they may not have the ability, to join the ASBA's board and dig in and help.
The ASBA has been a major part of the development of my career as a botanical artist. There were no prerequisites, no portfolio presentations that anybody could belong. Later still, you'll get a quarterly newsletter. I have one of these, one of the very first ones that I received in black and white.
I'm a member because I enjoy being with like-minded people. I enjoy being with people who appreciate botanical art, who love doing botanical art, and who also want to be around other people who do botanical art. There aren't just thousands and thousands of art groups for us. There's this particular art group, and it feels familiar and comfortable and good to be with friends.
I was purposefully looking for a group that I could pursue learning and inspiration for botanical art, and ran across the local chapter.
In 2003, all I wanted to do was find organizations where I could enter botanical competitions. I've since learned that ASBA has a lot more to offer.
I joined ASBA right after I saw one of the international exhibitions, which were shown at the New York Horticulture Society. I do remember being blown away by Jean Emmons' rutabaga that she did. I just could not take my eyes off of that, and I still can picture it. It really, the rutabaga changed my life.
The community that ASBA has created for botanical artists, it's an inclusive community. We welcome anyone who would like to join us.
Is the camaraderie, the enthusiasm, the international membership, and the many venues for conferences and exhibitions.
There is nothing like a community of fellow artists.
You get to meet so many wonderful people. That's one of the great benefits.
It's the opportunity to learn. I learn through classes, through the journal, and from my friends. Everyone is willing to learn from everyone else. It's really a very nice atmosphere.
Some of my favorite things about the ASBA start with the commitment and dedication of the board and the officers. But my most favorite thing has always been its members and the fun it is to meet people as interested in drawing and painting plants as I am.
What is my favorite thing about ASBA? Simple, the people.
There are many things that I love about the ASBA, and that anybody can belong. Also thrilled with the fact that I've met so many people. How could one not love being a part of the ASBA?
I've learned so much from my fellow members of ASBA. They are just so great, and they're so talented and so able, and they are so generous in sharing their knowledge.
The spirit of collegiality and friendliness of members, the incredibly generous sharing of expertise by world-class artist members, and the warm friendships I've made. It's filled with talented, wonderful people.
The education grant. And I really admire how the ASBA recognizes the work of individuals and the work that they are doing in their communities.
Botanical artists are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. We've learned so much from each other, and I think this has raised the quality of botanical art being produced in the United States today.
Meeting the people behind the images. The journal is something I look forward to getting in the mail and read cover to cover the first day I get it.
The community, the journal, the conferences, and I love the chapters and circles.
The ASBA is such an inclusive organization. It's the people that make it. And I have enjoyed coming to many conferences and now have friends all over the world thanks to the opportunities that the ASBA has given me.
What we do in the world is really important. Botanical art is a thriving and relevant field of artwork, and it draws attention to the plant life that surrounds us and that sustains all of us.
I'm constantly amazed by how much native talent each and every one of us possess. It's remarkable how people can bring forth what really has been a yearning, perhaps through years of hard work and endeavor in a career, and at the very end find the delights and pleasure and the satisfaction and the kind of therapeutic value that botanical drawing has. It's kind of reassuring to know that botanical art can get your soul back in the place it belongs.
I want to thank all of you who are listening and viewing this for sharing yourselves and your passion for botanical art. We all benefit from that generosity and we're all inspired by each other. So thank you so much.
I've seen a tremendous improvement in the quality of the general work, and I think ASBA has a great deal to do with that.
We share common values in terms of our strong love of plants and the natural world. And I feel this is becoming even more vital today than it was 25 years ago for us to understand plants and pollinators and to look very closely at them.
One of the things that I've always been interested in is a native species. And that's sort of one of the things that I think is really important when you're doing botanical painting. Most people go out and they think, oh, I want to paint or draw a flower, but give little thought as to what it is they're drawing and why. If you can begin to strategically think about, say, a species of plant, a theme that maybe overseas or you can establish throughout a long career, then I think more likely than not, you're going to make a name for yourself.
I wish the ASBA and all of its members a very happy 25th anniversary.
As president, you are a steward for the mission and vision of the ASBA. The foundation that was laid out by our founder, Diane Bouchier, is really no different today than it was then. We continue to strive to educate, to be inclusive, to achieve excellence in this art form, and to have a social impact. Our strategic plan is really the foundation to accomplish these things. It's a living document that serves as a roadmap so that we can continue to accomplish this mission. And I think that as a result, we do great things. We explore new relationships with like institutions, and consequently, that, among other things, helps us to move this mission forward. We are trying to better ourselves and consequently those around us, and to be a part of that makes me really proud.
And so a big thank you to everyone who has participated and contributed over these past years. Whether this is your first year of membership or your 25th, I do hope you have a really great conference.